Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to Letter from England after our summer break, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. My name is Jonathan Dawson. The aim of Letter from England is to offer an evangelical perspective on the news, and in this coming term we'll be looking at two main areas. One, issues in the church here in England, and also looking at issues in Spain from afar, as it were. From outside, and seeking to analyse some of the developments that we're seeing. Here in England, the Church of England is once again embroiled in controversy, as if the question of appointing openly homosexual clergy or not was not enough. There's now the issue of women bishops to concern them. Back in Spain, there's also been the question of the conversion of Catholics and evangelization of Catholics. And that's also an issue that's being discussed in the Anglo-Saxon world. And perhaps that will also be looked at in the wider context of whether Christians should seek to convert members of other religions, or members of even those claiming to be Christians, but from an evangelical perspective not considered as such. Also, the Spanish government has recently signed an agreement with an evangelical group in Cantabria, Nueva Vida, or New Life, to help prostitutes and those forced into that trade through sexual trafficking. Another sign of the great work being done by Spanish evangelicals in the social arena. And also, after the notorious visit of the Pope to Valencia and all the rumpus that was caused there, a recent survey at our sister website, protestantedigital.com, showed that the vast majority of Protestants in Spain have praised Prime Minister Zapatero for skipping Mass and for being the first ever head of state not to attend a papal Mass when the Pontiff was visiting his country. So there's plenty to be going on with. But this week we look at a more sombre topic: helping children recover from abuse. Marcos Zapata, an evangelical minister in Spain, an expert in family issues, has been looking at how Christians might respond to the domestic tragedy of child abuse. Starting from Jesus' standpoint, in his day children were deemed pretty insignificant by society, but Jesus himself said that of such is the kingdom of heaven. Protestants too have had a long tradition of helping children. The Protestant Reformation brought pedagogical change with the first primary schools opened, with girls even going to class, which in the 16th century was certainly very radical. Zapata says that pastors too should be social prevention agents when it comes to domestic and especially child abuse, and that they and other Christians should never look the other way. Child abuse statistics make for chilling reading. In 17% of cases, it's said that the child suffers severe mental stress, and in half of all cases, physical and intellectual development is set back. Children who are victims of domestic abuse struggle with their own identity and with forming healthy relationships. They suffer from deep anxiety and depression and have many fears. Yet what is most common among them, and what upsets society most, is their conflictive behaviour, and yet that often stems from the abuse that they themselves have received. So what can Christians do? Well, Zapata complains that many of them lament what's going on but do nothing about it, and in this, I suppose, we follow much of society. And he suggests the motto, think globally and act locally. In other words, fight against the problems around us, the cases that we know of, each in our own locality. And Christians have a great role to play in helping abused children find a different way of living, adults who will love them for who they are, adults who will love them in a non-violent or through a non-violent lifestyle, by offering them security, by encouraging forgiveness, forgiving them and encouraging them to forgive those who've abused them, by showing that there is a life beyond the cycle of abuse that they have known. Zapata says the normal reaction for a child who's been a victim of abuse is to respond violently. That's what is being taught. But the presence of a calm, non-violent adult can be the catalyst for helping the child not to respond in that way. He argues that Christians should be compassionate towards children and aggressive against any abuse of them. He says there may be children in our churches who are suffering abuse, and we don't know about it. And we might add there that perhaps we don't want to know about it. It is an embarrassing skeleton in the cupboard, but we may need to be sweeping out that particular skeleton. We should be concerned certainly about the circumstances in which our children live and are brought up. And Zapata concludes in an adamant fashion that we must not look the other way, but err on the side of doing too much rather than too little in the face of abuse. And one of the greatest factors, he says, that prevents people from doing anything is the fear of getting involved. But Christians should not be paralyzed by this. Well, it's a somber topic from which to start our autumn set of broadcasts. But the church needs to be at the forefront of social change, at the forefront of promoting family life, particularly in the light of comments by Eduardo Heltfelder, the chairman of the Family Policy Institute in Spain, who has accused the Spanish government of being anti-family. And the church needs to be standing out in defence of Christian ethics, of Christian morals, and of Christian standards. First of all, of course, we need to be modelling them ourselves. Well, thank you for listening to Letter from England. I hope you'll join me each week, and you can find us. Remember that there is now an English language website with their own particular interest slant at www.e-mission.org or emission.info. Get it right, and you can join us there. Thank you for listening, and goodbye for now.
Emisión.net